Binh An, we got called our company commander, and he told us we're going to go and we're going to pair us with a mech unit, which is tanks and armored personnel carriers. And we were going to go surround a village on the ocean called Binh An that intelligence said had a regiment of NVA underground. They had an underground complex. They were living underground. And lots of times you get this kind of intelligence. Sometimes it works. Usually something doesn't work out, right? But anyway, they load us up and they flew us in, chopped. And another company, Charlie Company from the 7th Cav, was on the other side. They put us with the mech units, and we approached the village and surrounded it. You know, like a semicircle from the ocean around the village. And we got in place, and immediately there was firing. And the plan was we dug holes, and then from our side, we were on the south side, facing the village. And on command, we would move between the tanks and go across the village. And any foxholes or bunkers, we'd frag them, put hand grenades and concussion grenades down in there. And there was no civilians. It was abandoned pretty much. And so we made the first move, and the firing was like crazy. And we got some return fire, but it was chaos. I mean, we're off firing, throwing hand grenades down in these holes, and went all the way across, more than halfway, pulled back, got in our holes. The other company came back doing the same thing. Did this 2 or 3 times. And we waited. and then it was getting dark, so they brought a battleship in, some kind of, it was a battleship or what it was. It had heavy guns. But anyway, we were far enough, and they started hitting the village with heavy guns, just knocking the hell out of it. Okay, so the next day, we made a move. We did the same thing. Came back. Now some people are giving up. They're coming out with white flags, you know. So we waited and waited and waited. And during the night, a few people, they tried to escape, get out in the ocean. It didn't. So and next day, we'd made a couple more passes. Then whoever, the ones who were left came out. They gave up. And I have pictures of the prisoners. Those were, I think I showed some pictures of the prisoners. That's all that was left. And I don't know if they call it a regiment. I don't know what it was, but it was a couple hundred, 200-300 people. Anyway, that was Binh An. It kind of worked the way it was, but and we took very few casualties. I think a friend of mine, Dave Carpenter, or not Carpenter, Davenport, nicknamed the Couch. You know, he got a sniper round in the belly, bounced off a tank, but he was okay. But they took heavy cavalry. But it was one of the things that, you know, usually those things don't work. Of course, the sad part was I weighed 135 pounds. So I was one of the guys having to drag the bodies out, you know, but.
Could you explain that? Could you, like, what was it like? What were the smells? What was the...
Well, it was, that was a little scary, but there wasn't anybody. I was afraid somebody might be, but they had open areas down there. They had a freaking hospital down there. They had, I mean, it was all tight in, and they had places to eat, places to sleep. You know, it was a really underground little city, you know. Yeah. And so, I don't know, we'd pull them out and we kind of pile bodies. I don't know who came or what they did. They pulled us out. And they probably came in with helicopters and stuff and buried them. They probably did. I don't know what I don't think.
So that was your job? What? Your job during that whole day was just to pull the bodies out?
Yeah, I just had one little section.
For hours?
Yeah. No. me and another kid called Short Round. And I still, even at 135 pounds, you know, I was still pretty good size for what they did, but because they only have really small areas, you know, so just, and they were, you know, that was
There's a lot of casualties
who
in Binh An.
them, yeah,
Oh, it was Vietnamese bodies, not American
yeah,
bodies. Oh,
Vietnamese bodies.
okay.
We only had a couple. We didn't have any KIs. I think we had 2 guys wounded or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you thinking about during that time?
Well, when it was over, I was just glad it was over. But a few of those areas, when I was in there, I thought I might run into somebody that was still alive or something, you know, or you know, shoot me. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, Binh An.
You got shot at?
Huh?
You got shot at?
Oh yeah. They were shooting. They were shooting bullets and rockets. Well, we were behind the tanks, and we had foxholes, you know. But once we got placed, they just got in the hole. They got underground.
Yeah.
Well, an awful lot of bodies. I don't know if there's 300, but you know, pulling off a lot of bodies out of there. Big piles of them, you know.
Yeah.
But it was. I can remember going across there and coming back. It was like in those World War II movies, you know, where the tanks are firing and you're firing and you're going back and forth.
Yeah.
It's like something out of a movie.
Yeah.
Scary. Unscary. Yeah, it was scary.